You're listening to the BNI Effect, the podcast for Brisbane entrepreneurs who believe in givers gain. I'm Tony Meredith, and ordinarily I'm a business coach who specialises in sales and leadership, but today I'm your host. And in this episode, I chat with a BNI member to explore their biggest wins, biggest lessons, and how you can get the most out of your BNI membership. This is episode number 86, and today's guest is Chris Foenander from NGU Real Estate. Welcome, Chris.
Hi, Tony. Hey, everyone. How you going?
Mate, thank you for being here. Let's kick it off with a BNI story. What's the best
Mm,
referral you've either given or received through BNI?
sure. So I guess the best example I could think of there in terms of the receiving end. So being been more of a long-term BNI member since 2018, but back in 21, I met an electrician in our chapter here in Brisbane and in the western suburbs. And I guess I could go through the timeline there between, I think when we're looking at there, 2021, I had the sale of one property. 22, the buyers of that property sold by me. 2022, sale of another property to the same client. Then again in 23, 24. So in total, we're looking at around, I think that's about 6 transactions from the one referral from that one electrician, Matt, in the chapter.
Well, that is an amazing example of the power
Mm.
of BNI just right there.
Absolutely. Look, and these are high valued, low frequency, tend to be low frequency transactions. So definitely a very powerful relationship.
You mentioned that you've been in BNI since 2018, is that right?
That's right. So I had a short break in between, but 2018 is part of the Toowong chapter in Brisbane called Excellence at the time. For there was my first exposure, and I jumped straight into that and learnt a lot through that version of BNI, and then stepped away and then joined another chapter in 2020, just around COVID actually, and that's the chapter that I've been part of since.
So let's backtrack to before you started. So, firstly, why did you go along to that first meeting?
Look, I was invited by my accountant at the time, so I just stepped into the franchise realm in real estate, and glazed eyes. Let's start a business, and I met Jen at the time, who was my accountant, and had a really trusted relationship with Jen at the time, and still obviously trust and respect her, but that was where we were at, and casually invited me to this meeting. There was no real pressure around it. It was just a very light invitation, and I was always have been and always will be open to opportunities. So that was where it started.
And so tell me about the first meeting.
So first meeting, look, it was a. If I try to recall back, I don't remember everything. It's a bit fragmented, but I remember it being very welcoming. Very much, everyone was there to share ideas fairly openly, fairly credible stories. It wasn't over exaggerated. It wasn't. I've been part of our Amway Network 21 in the past, and that's quite a full-on, marketing model in and so forth. So I was very wary of where I was going to spend my time next, but it was very, very welcoming, and I really enjoyed it a lot, obviously, and didn't feel pressured. I was very much like, oh, this is special to be a part of.
And so, did you sign up after that first meeting?
I'd say I believe it's really hard questions because I don't know. I believe I would have. I think I just jumped straight in and I couldn't wait to get started. I think that's literally how it all went, and the rest is history, right? If you ask a lot of members that have been part of BNI for so long, they probably don't actually remember because they're just so, we're excited about the time.
Which is amazing, right? And
Yeah.
it's a good point you make. Look, the reason why I ask is because people have different journeys into BNI, and some
Mm,
people go to that first meeting and really struggle, and they don't like the first meeting or the first chapter, but then they realise that there's other chapters, and perhaps whilst that one mightn't have fitted, there's others that do fit.
mm.
So it sounds like for you, the first meeting you went to, it was a good fit for you, and as you said, the rest is history.
That's right. I think there was a lot of like-minded. There was a lot of people in a similar sort of stage in their journey for business and in the western suburbs. So there was a lot of initial, very strong relationships started to foster. That was probably a big part of it too.
How long into your journey, Chris, did you
Mhm.
realize that this BNI thing was going to be worth it for you?
Look, I think, and this is a very honest, response. My first couple of years, I was very much. I had the be the good student mentality and doing all the KPIs and over the top, but I was also then paying attention to other people and what they were doing and focusing too much on looking at others. versus just myself. Um, and and I think the second time coming back into it with the new chapter, I said, if I'm going to do it again, I'm going to look at it in a different light. I'm going to market myself the best product I can when I walk in that room, and I'm going to be the best version of myself and make the most of that time, give all my energy, and leave an impression, and do that every week. And that's what it's been like for me for the last few months, and I feel that's been really a different version.
That's amazing. And so is that what you consistently do to deliver results?
I believe it's part of the main ingredients, yes. And the giver's gain is probably underlying that, yeah. So, and that's definitely something that's been in my premise in general in my life and how I operate with my real estate with my clients. And I think if you have that embedded in you, it will work. It will come around, and you don't know where your unicorn, we'll call it, refer is going to be. Like Maddie for me, you don't know where they're going to be and who they are, and it's not so much so textbook. So just keep doing what the model and the process says to be doing, because it will work out.
I describe it as follow the system, trust the process, which is what you're
That's
saying.
right.
Like follow the
Yeah,
system,
that's
keep
right.
following the system. You just don't know what's around the corner, but as long as you follow that system and trust that
Mm.
this thing really does work, then yes, wonderful things will happen. So on the flip side, then, Chris, what mistakes do you see members make that perhaps hold them back from maximizing their BNI membership?
Yeah, I think going back to my point there, why am I not the theory of why am I not getting what I should be getting? Getting stuck into that mindset. I've done it for 3 months or 6 months, and why am I not there? Or why are others getting that and I'm not getting this? The versus why am I not improving my connection, my relationships, my business opportunities with others? And that's a similar, mindset for me right now is in my role as president. I've got to give more. I've got to think. I need to spend more time with the others in my team to connect with them and understand what's important to them, rather than assume, especially if they've undertaken different roles. So that's a shift for me, in doing that, to making sure that model works well. But I think that that's often what can be a cause of why it doesn't work for people, and they expect that just appearing at a meeting for an hour and a half once a week and being present is what is required. It's beyond that. It's much more than that.
Yeah, well, it's to me, it's quality, not just quantity. So the quantity is, yeah,
100%.
you got to show up, you've got to do those things, but then it's when you do show up, like you said, the second time round for you, you just immersed
Mm,
yourself in all the things that were BNI, and it sounds like you
mm.
demonstrated high levels of quality, and then as a result, things really started to happen.
That's right. And then the word of all, being authentic. People will buy into that any day of the week. It's a natural, it's an innate thing. And when you share something with you, when you tell people, I need this, I need help with this, or I need a connection to this, I'm really struggling with this. I can tell you now, most people will die with the opportunity to be there by your side. So I think that BNI model really provides for that. And I think that that's the other element that I think would be really great to see more people start to delve into.
Can you give us a brief overview of you and your business and the main service that you provide?
Yeah, I was going to say see my gains profile, but that's a bit cheeky. Look, for
Well,
me,
just on that, I mean,
yeah,
there'll be some people who are
yeah,
listening who are
yeah,
not familiar with BNI, and they'll be wondering, well, what's this gains profile all about? Just
yeah.
talk us through what that is, Chris.
Yeah, so look, it's a summary. It's basically your report card on who you are in your profile as a human being and as a professional. What it does, it allows anyone in the organization, and this is globally, to be able to get a quick snapshot of who you are and then engage with you. And I have had this actually be successful with someone in Melbourne. So I had a property in Brisbane, said, hey, let me jump on BNI. Oh, look, Chris has done this. This is the areas of services. He's a BNI person. I can trust him. Pick up the phone. And I had no prior relationship to this client whatsoever at all, but we hit it off like we were already stage 3 in our relationship because of the model, because of the system and the gains profile. So it does work. So for me, for real estate focus, I look at advice, support, and in my chapter, we have a buyer's agent. So I'm very much respectful of that role and how that operates. And we work very closely together. We actually have an appointment on Friday. We're working with the same client on both ends of the transaction. So, for me, it's very much specific sales advice, and I've been a licensed agent for over 11 years with a corporate background. So I actually have a background in risk and compliance, assurance, and government roles, and in the public sector as well, and private, and project management and IT security. So I'll leave a mixed bag of experience before I got into real estate, but what it has allowed me to do is be incredibly thorough with my approach and strategies for what I do in real estate. I'm not just there to wear a suit and talk about a sales result and with a cheesy smile. It's more structure and process and execution.
Sounds like you've got a really diverse background. What was it that prompted you to get into real estate in the first place?
It was it was an article in the newspaper. I'd actually just finished up my role with the government, SEQ Water, on a contract. So I had no job. We were getting married. I was engaged to my wife. We were getting married in 2 months. Got married, didn't have a job. I said, what should I do? And said, well, look, people have always said, be good in real estate. I opened up the newspaper and there is Johnny Lynn. And just so you know, I don't read much at all, but somebody had a calling and said, look at this. And I was reading the article. It's probably one of the only articles I've read in the newspaper. And Johnny Lynn from Harcourt's in the north side. And here he is writing 800 grand, $1 million, dollars. That's interesting. And let me investigate it further. I found a role with Corona's Group from there, and that's where it all started. That was back in 2014, and haven't looked back.
Good on you. Where is your office space, as a matter of interest?
Sure. So the current office is so NGU has a headquarters in Milton. So that's the main office for all of our franchise offices. Around 10 offices in Brisbane, and that houses all the shared services, the marketing, the admin, and so forth. And that's our new office. Well, we moved from Toowong not too long ago.
And so, do you have a specific geographic area that you focus on, Chris?
I'm a little bit different. So for me, most of my business has been relationship, referral, repeat. I got a call from a client yesterday, an email. Hey, you sold my mum and dad's property in Cinnamon Park. We need help to sell their property in Hendra. Call them up, sign them up. So going to get photos tomorrow. It'll be live on Friday. So I'm very fortunate and very grateful for those opportunities that have been able to continue to come through. So it is very much a repeat and referral business for me, and that works for me because I'm not here to run 20 pieces of stock a month and not have any time to give my clients. For me, it's very much manageable amount of business and give the right level of service.
Is just on that. So then, is there something else different that you're doing that sort of makes your business stand out versus the others?
I think, yeah, definitely. So extending on what I've just talked about, it's really about being thorough with the approach. So if I have to show a property 5 times in a week, if I have to give my client 5 conversations in a day, I can do that and be genuinely there and connected and give them the time. And it has happened and it will happen. I have a first time seller. They're in their 70s, and I'm nurturing through the process. And there was a time there I was talking to them 4 times a day. And that's fine with me because I know that they need that care. It's not a case of we close the chapter off, we move forward in the process, and you have to catch up, which a lot of other agents who are running at high profile businesses need to operate at. Otherwise, you're costing the money on the shelf. So I'm very comfortable operating that, but it also gives me balance for my personal life and for my family, which is important to me. I've got 2 kids, another one due in January. So that's what real estate offers me, and I'm comfortable operating that way because it allows me to give a better version of myself, and obviously then BNI, right? So when what BNI requires from me as well.
What's a common problem that your clients face, and how do you solve it, Chris?
So it's probably the most consistent one is what I signed up for is not what I'm getting, and there's many versions of that. The smoke and mirrors or over promise, under deliver. Because obviously in our industry, you can walk in and have all the slick dialogue, the fancy suit, the smile that that gets people excited and sell them on something that sounds amazing and incredible, usually attached to a price. And so a lot of people get caught up in that and then sign up. And once you've signed up, you have 3 months generally with that agent, and they have to continue to deliver on what they gave you in that 1-hour presentation. And there's very little opportunity to actually go backwards from that because you've already invested in marketing, you're already online, and you then trust that agent to take you through the process. So that's what I feel is the real unfortunate part about our industry is the case that some people can get fooled, we'll say, into sort of a sales pitch, and then have to just grin and bear it to hopefully get the right result, and maybe be disappointed, or ultimately 3 months later, okay, it didn't work, now let's go to another agent, which I do take care of a lot of the time where there's been an unsuccessful campaign.
Who's an ideal referral for you right now?
Look, a homeowner considering, I think right now it's about equity. Like, there's so much equity in Australia in terms of property, and particularly Queensland. Our market in Queensland is just insane, and the world is realising that. Australia's realising that, and that's why everyone's coming to Queensland. So get in now, and if you've got stock, it's about getting more stock, I think. Or if you want to upgrade, look at considering to do that upgrade now. For me, I've just recently looked at refinancing. So what does that look like for me in terms of what my previous position was and where we need to be going? And it's worked out well. So I think that's what I think would be the ideal person if they're looking at the property goals. Should I buy another property, or should I look to do the upgrade?
Let's play a word association game. I'm going to say some words, and I'm looking for a quick response from you.
Sure.
Networking.
Group.
Referrals.
Relationships.
Success.
Contribution.
Coffee.
Cake.
Cake. I love it. Give us gain.
Trust.
Sport.
Basketball.
Team.
Unity.
BNI.
Success.
Excellent. If you could give one piece of wisdom or advice to someone who wants to grow their business through BNI networking, what would it be, Chris?
Look, it doesn't cost you anything to go and investigate. And if you don't, you'll never know what it can mean. And it's no one else's loss, but potentially yours.
Profound. I like it. What's one exciting thing happening in your business right now that you'd like the listeners or viewers to know about?
I think it comes back to, I think for me, I'm finding out the more authentic the more I'm allowing people to see how authentic I am. And the more I'm connecting and putting myself out there in a more authentic manner, not driving the Maserati, not, flashing the money out or anything like that. More, you're just being you. And for me, I think that works for me. I don't have two profiles on social media. I utilize it. I monitor who watches my posts, and I intentionally put out content. It's all a strategy, but it's me and my person. It's me, my kids, my work, what I'm doing, the settings, the architecture, everything. And I see people start to digest that. That's my strategy. And I think if you do that in your version of you, in your business, your trade, put yourself out there. It's easy. We do a lot in real estate agents, sometimes overdo it, but it's working really well. It's a language that everyone has to learn. And we've had to really accelerate our understanding of social media. I think all businesses should take advantage of that. People want to see you. They want to see what you do. They really do. And the more you allow that people open up, the more they're thinking about you, because they'll watch that story and then you'll get a call the next day, right? It is uncanny, and that's how it works.
How can listeners learn more about you or your business, or just get in touch with you, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to, that previous comment there about social media, jump on Instagram, Chris Foenander Real Estate, on Facebook or in Threads, or even realestate.com, or my NGU real estate site. All of those platforms all have my stock or me. And if you look at social media, you'll be able to get a quick snapshot, look at my my reels or my posts and see, okay, well, that's what he was doing, that's what he's done, this is where he's been, and I've got a good understanding in terms of what he is as a business or an operator or as a person. I think that's the most effective report card.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris. Really appreciate it. Hey, look, that wraps up another episode of the BNI Effect. My thanks to Chris Foenander for sharing his insights with us and showing us what's possible in BNI. If you're a BNI member, perhaps it's an opportunity to take one of the ideas that Chris shared and you can implement that over the next week. If you're a visitor to BNI, I hope that you've seen how powerful the BNI community can be for your business. Subscribe to hear more real stories from Brisbane BNI members. Until next time, give more, trust more, grow more.